What if one morning we woke up and discovered that Earth had suddenly tilted off its axis? The sun would still rise, but not where we expect it, and the rhythm of life that has guided humanity for thousands of years would be thrown into chaos. For as long as humans have looked at the sky, we've lived under the steady tilt of our planet, about 23.5 degrees. That tilt has been more than just a detail of astronomy. It's the reason we have seasons, migrations, and patterns of growth that feed billions of people. But what if that balance was disturbed? What if Earth shifted? The consequences could be as beautiful as they are terrifying. To understand this thought experiment, we first have to appreciate what the tilt actually means. Earth spins like a top, but it doesn't stand straight up and down relative to the sun. Instead, it leans, pointing the North Pole toward Polaris, the North Star. This small tilt changes everything. It determines how sunlight is distributed, how long our days are in summer and winter, and how ecosystems evolve to depend on those shifts. Without it, Earth would be an unimaginably different place. This tilt wasn't an accident. Billions of years ago, in the violent chaos of the early solar system, a Mars-sized body collided with Earth. That impact not only gave birth to our moon, but also set the Earth spinning at the angle we know today. Over the millennia, gravitational pulls from the moon and other planets have nudged that tilt slightly, but it has remained stable enough for life to flourish. Imagine then, if that stability were broken in an instant. If Earth tilted even a few more degrees, seasons would become extreme. Summers in certain regions would scorch with unbearable heat, while winters could plunge into freezing darkness. Crops that thrive in predictable conditions might fail, forcing entire populations to migrate. If instead the tilt decreased, seasons would flatten, creating an eternal spring-like monotony for some, but stripping the planet of diversity in weather and life cycles. Now picture the nightmare scenario, a complete realignment where the planet tips dramatically or even lies sideways like Uranus. The equator could roast under an endless sun while the poles, no longer icy caps, might be bathed in year-round daylight or perpetual night. Familiar coastlines would vanish under rising seas as ice sheets melted in some places and expanded in others. Cities we've built over centuries could be swallowed, while new land emerges in unexpected regions. But the chaos wouldn't stop with weather. Ocean currents, which depend on temperature differences between the equator and poles, would collapse or reroute. The Gulf Stream that warms Europe could vanish, plunging it into icy winters, while tropical regions might overheat. Marine ecosystems from coral reefs to fisheries would face collapse, breaking the food chain that billions depend on. Humanity has never known such instability, and survival would depend on adaptation at a scale we can barely imagine. Animals too would face upheaval. Think of the great migrations, the wildebeests of Africa, the monarch butterflies of North America, the whales that travel across oceans. All of them are tied to seasonal signals, to temperatures and patterns shaped by Earth's tilt. Remove or alter those signals, and millions of species could vanish in a blink. Some might adapt, but evolution doesn't happen overnight. Extinction would become a daily headline. Civilization itself is built on climate stability. The earliest farmers relied on predictable seasons to grow wheat, rice, and maize. Those rhythms allowed humans to settle, build cities, and create culture. But if Earth tilted suddenly, history would reset. Societies would fracture as nations fought for fertile ground, fresh water, and safe zones from extreme heat or cold. Climate refugees would number not in millions, but billions. Borders would blur under desperation, and governments might collapse under the strain. And what about our technology? Could we fight back? With satellites, climate models, and global cooperation, humanity might attempt to engineer solutions. Giant mirrors in space to deflect sunlight, artificial control of rainfall, even efforts to drag Earth back into balance with unimaginable machines. But these are desperate ideas, and the truth is, nature's scale dwarfs even our most ambitious technologies. For individuals, daily life would change in ways both subtle and profound. Imagine walking outside in what used to be December, only to find a blazing sun beating down with midsummer heat. Festivals tied to the calendar, Christmas in snow, Ramadan in spring, Diwali in autumn, would lose their seasonal anchor. Cultures built around harvests and equinoxes would struggle to find meaning when nature itself no longer follows the same script. But there's also a stranger possibility: new beauty. Regions once locked in icy cold might blossom into fertile plains. Deserts might shift. Rains might come to places that have long been dry. Human ingenuity could take advantage of these new opportunities, rewriting maps of agriculture and settlement. Entire civilizations could emerge in places we never thought habitable. Yet every gain would come with a cost, and the question would linger: who benefits and who is left behind? Looking deeper, a tilt in Earth's axis would also challenge our psychology. The human sense of time, of seasons, of holidays and traditions is tied to the turning of the planet. Without that rhythm, we would have to rewrite not only calendars but also identities. Would we adapt with resilience or collapse into despair? History suggests both are possible. Science fiction often imagines worlds where the sun never sets, or where endless winters blanket the land. But for Earth, these aren't just fantasies. They're real possibilities if the tilt were to shift dramatically. Planets like Uranus and Venus show us the extremes. Uranus is tilted so far it essentially rolls on its side, giving it bizarre seasons that last decades. Venus barely tilts at all, offering almost no seasonal variation, just a relentless, crushing climate. Earth could follow either path, and in doing so, might lose the delicate balance that has made it unique. The future of humanity, then, would depend on our capacity to cooperate. Could nations work together to share resources, to protect displaced populations, to rebuild civilization in habitable zones? Or would we see endless wars over shrinking fertile land and collapsing coastlines? The tilt of Earth's axis may seem like a scientific abstraction, but it strikes at the core of what it means to live together on a fragile planet. It's worth noting that Earth's tilt does change slowly over tens of thousands of years, in cycles called Milankovitch cycles. These gradual shifts have triggered ice ages and warm periods in the past, but the hypothetical scenario of a sudden tilt would accelerate those changes into a single lifetime. Imagine 10,000 years of climate evolution crammed into a single generation. The scale of shock would be beyond anything in human memory. If we step back, though, this thought experiment is more than a doomsday tale. It's a reminder of just how precious stability is. The seasons we take for granted, the migrations of animals, the rising and setting of the sun in familiar places, these are the foundations of life as we know it. We live on a knife's edge, balanced by physics we rarely think about. And if that balance shifted, even slightly, everything would be rewritten. So what do we take away from this? The story of Earth's tilt is really the story of fragility. We are not in control of the forces that shape our world, yet our survival depends on them. That should inspire humility, but also urgency, because while Earth may not tilt suddenly in reality, we are already tilting our world in another way, through climate change. We are shifting weather patterns, melting ice caps, and forcing migrations, not with an astronomical collision, but with our own actions. In that sense, asking, what if Earth tilted off its axis, is also asking, what if we keep destabilizing the systems we depend on? The warning is the same: instability breeds crisis. But just as with the tilt, there is also opportunity. If we act, if we cooperate, if we use our intelligence wisely, we can adapt and even thrive. If we wait, the consequences may be as severe as any planetary tilt. The thought is both terrifying and inspiring. Terrifying because it shows how thin the line is between habitability and chaos. Inspiring because it reminds us that the small miracle of Earth's tilt has given us everything: forests, oceans, seasons, harvests, and history. To imagine its loss is to appreciate its value. And so, as we return to the present moment, under a sun that rises and sets predictably thanks to a stable axis, perhaps we should take a breath of gratitude. The balance holds, for now. But the future is always uncertain, and the choices we make today will decide whether humanity faces collapse or reinvention. If this exploration has opened your eyes to the fragile beauty of our planet, then let it be more than just a story. Share the knowledge, support efforts to protect the Earth, and stay curious about the universe we live in. Because sometimes the most powerful changes come not from sudden cosmic tilts, but from the small shifts we choose to make together.